French films have a little bit of a reputation of being beautifully shot, but a little bit moody, a little bit depressing, dare I say, a little bit dull.
Why should French cinema be any different to any other cinema? It's because what you've been exposed to. At some time in your life you were shown worthy, dull French films. Most of French cinema is just like everyone else. It's comedies, it's romances, it's cops and robbers. The films we get here tend to be the most intellectual, but it doesn't mean that they're dull. And some are quite challenging and obviously challenged you, but most of them are about the human condition, about people falling in love, about people having the experiences that all of us do. And because it's in a foreign language with subtitles, that puts some people off. But it shouldn't, because they're just as good as anything from America, Britain, India, or the other big film producing nations.
I have friends who are into French film and really appreciate them, but equally I have friends who, intelligent people who really cannot be bothered to watch subtitles. Do you find that quite a lot?
You have to say that subtitles are a barrier to watching a film. If you want to enjoy and fall into a film, having to read the subtitles can be get in the way a bit. So if you don't speak a foreign language, that's going to be a challenge. But it isn't enough of a challenge for me and for huge numbers of people to get in the way of watching a really great film. And it shouldn't be for you either. As long as you can read, why not go and see a subtitled film? And I see it when I do sessions with young kids and they say, oh, we don't watch subtitle films. And you talk about Hidden Dragon or some of the films they have seen. They go, oh, yeah, of course they had subtitles. So it's a prejudice that can be broken. And when I started at Watermans 20 years ago, we were getting 15 people. We now get up to 120.
I was wondering if that's because you had more French people, because there are a lot of French people.
Not at all. No, it's people that have come to enjoy the talks, trust the cinema to choose films that are accessible most of the time, and enjoy the whole experience. So they're not put off by subtitles. They're not put off by the fact the film's French, because they trust Watermans to offer them an interesting, stimulating afternoon. French cinema always changes. It's always, always, always changing. Sometimes it has high points in the late 1950s with the arrival of Truffaut and Godard and these filmmakers here, the new wave, of which there are hundreds of books in my library. That was an amazingly special period when French cinema was dominating the world. Back in the 1930s with Jean Gabin and Jean Renoir making their great films, that was another extraordinary period. And actually going back to the silent era, in the 1890s and 1900s, French cinema was more powerful than American cinema. So they have the ups, then they have the downs. Sometimes in the 1980s where everything seemed to have Gérard Depardieu in a frock in it, and things got a bit dull. And sometimes things come, sometimes things go. At the moment we're in a period where there are 200 films being made a year, of which probably 100 could easily go straight to DVD and be forgotten. And perhaps only 15, 20 are brilliant pieces of cinema. So you have these periods. What I would say at the moment, though, is what's happened in French cinema in the last 20 years is that women have started being a significant force, and there are a good number of women directors, and that's really helped make French cinema more stimulating.
The films are good, as you say. Watermans makes a point of choosing good films, but also it has something to do with you and your lectures. Tell me how you organise your programme. Is it by theme? Is it just the latest film out? How do you organise your French impressions?
It's quite a challenge because we're very much driven by what films are available, and so not many films make it across the English Channel to be distributed. And so the choices we made are limited to perhaps 35 new films a year, plus classics that are reissued by the British Film Institute. So we'll discuss the films that are coming up, try and make sure there's a variety of new films and classics. And once you've fixed on that, a variety of talks based around a director, or an actor or actress, or a theme. So in the 10 sessions we do every year, there'll be some classics, some new films, some that are light and frothy, some that are more challenging, some that will foreground a director and their career, some that will show the career of an actor. And as long as there's a variety, that works. And I keep a very long log so that I don't do Gérard Depardieu every year.
And do you have a favourite director?
I do have a favourite director, and my favourite director is Francois Truffaut, who for me embodied storytelling, respect for the audience and humanity, and told films that were entertaining, funny, touching, but also often very serious. And Truffaut's 400 coups, 400 blows, was a film that had a huge impression on me when I was very young, and one of the things that made me decide I wanted to work in the film industry.